on science of self-realization. So let's begin our session with prayers to Lord Krishna and Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So let's continue our discussions on a very interesting topic which we have been discussing since last 3 sessions. The topic's title is The Highest Love. So this is a lecture Prabhupada has given, and very wonderful points Prabhupada has been telling about what is the highest perfection that we can have, right? So all these discussions are by the inspiration of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the worldwide Hare Krishna movement, Iskcon, who has so thoughtfully recorded all these instructions in the form of books, audio tapes, for us to refer them and hear them nicely and perfect our lives and achieve the highest perfection. Right? So we owe a great sense of gratitude and respect to Prabhupada for this wonderful contribution. So let's take a quick recap on what we have discussed in our previous 3 sessions. Prabhupada was defining what is life's perfection. People generally have the understanding perfection of life means becoming very big man, becoming very famous man, or earning a lot of money. Like that, many things people have their own way of seeing life being perfect. Or I have led a very successful life. I've lived enough. I've lived 70 years, 80 years, a very successful life I had. People think I'm successful or perfect. But this is not life's perfection with regard to human form of life. Life's perfection is to stop the cycle of birth and death and get the highest perfection of achieving the love of Krishna. Okay, what is this love of Krishna? We'll understand as we proceed further in our other points. So life's perfection is to achieve shelter of Krishna, love of Krishna. And this is what distinguishes our life from ordinary life of any other living entity. Because we as spirit soul, we can understand this aspect and live our life in that way, that manner. That is why it's called spiritual life. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. The Vedanta says, now that you have got human form of life, you have to inquire about Brahman. Brahman means you are not matter, you are spirit. Life centered around Brahman or spiritual aspect is what is known as spiritual life. So why spiritual life is important? Because if we don't lead a life of spirituality, then it will only degrade our existence to further, again, going through cycle of birth and death. So somebody may question, okay, you're telling relationship with Krishna or the perfection is to achieve love of Krishna. How do you know that Krishna is there? And where does he live? So these aspects, Prabhupada explains that yes, existence of Krishna is as much as a fact as you are seeing things in the material world. So that is the highest reality. And the way you have relationships in the material world, Krishna also is having relationships with different devotees in the material world, in the spiritual world. In fact, all of us belong to Krishna. This is what Bhagavad Gita is telling us. We have origin from Krishna. This we have forgotten. This we have totally ignorant about this particular fact. So we have an eternal relationship with Krishna. We have a bearing with Krishna. This point we have to understand. So otherwise, where is our origin from? Where from we have come? Right? So this aspect of our eternal relationship with Krishna is explained in the Bhagavad Gita very clearly, very nicely. And even after our going out from this material world, going to spiritual world, Krishna is not that it is, as some spiritualists say, it is all void, it is impersonal. No. Krishna has eternal relationship with all of us, and he is wanting us to come back and experience that relationship which originally we all had. Right? Whatever relationship we have in the material world with our family, as wife, husband, children, relatives, friends, same relationships Krishna is having with his devotees. And what is the qualification to associate with Krishna? Qualification is to give up these desires to be in the material world. The aspiration that I want to become this and that in the material world, that will continue your existence here. If you can give up that aspiration, that will qualify you to associate with Krishna. And people do take up religiosity, but with the material intentions. Right? So, because all of us have the inclination to become religious or follow some religious aspects, but it comes with a baggage of, I perform religion, or I perform some puja, I perform some rituals because I have this requirement. I have some problem, right? I have family problem, I have health problem, I have wealth problem. Like this, so many. If these problems have to be solved, so this is one way. If religiosity is taken in that background, then that is not pure devotion. Right? What is required is religiosity without any tinge of materialistic understanding or materialistic type of approach is important, right? So this is a qualification to liberate ourselves from this material world. As long as we maintain the desires to enjoy in the material world, we'll continue to be in the material world. And further, Prabhupada explained, this is the formula for attaining real happiness, right? Giving up all the desires to enjoy in the material world, because enjoyment in the material world means it may give you a sense of some satisfaction and happiness, very flickering experience, very temporary experience. But again, you have to suffer. Again, you have to suffer. Again, you have to go through cycle of birth and death, birth and death. And what is this? It's not called real happiness. Suppose if I tell you, now you are sitting in a specific place, and then I tell you, after 1 minute, you have to get up from here and sit here. After 1 more minute, you have to wake at this place, and it's like painful, not very, not happy, and it will not be happy for us, situation for us. So real happiness means to return to our original situation, eternal situation of I am, part and parcel of Krishna. I am eternally happy with complete understanding that I'm spirit soul. This is called real happiness. Why we require this is because we are spiritual by nature. If you carefully analyze our psychology, we are looking for permanency. We are looking for happiness forever. But these things are not possible in the material world. In our own life, we go through so many phases of ups and downs, and if we simply assume I am happy, that is maybe in our illusion we are thinking. But the real happiness can be possible when you revive our spiritual nature. Right now, our spiritual nature is covered. As spirit soul, we are eternally existing with full knowledge and full happiness. That is covered by our material life, material body. So this is, our requirement. Just like the fish out of water cannot be happy in any situation unless it is back in the water. Likewise, we are spirit souls, we are happy in spiritual existence, spiritual world. That is what is our requirement. For that, we need to awaken our love for Krishna. It is there, but it is sleeping now. So for this, the recommendation given is that you have to cultivate Krishna consciousness favorably which means one acts as Krishna desires under the direction of Krishna's pure devotee. Very significant point Prabhupada makes here is that right now our consciousness is what? We are driven by our mind and senses. Mind wants something, and it is senses are driven there or they are running there. So like this, our right now our existence is demands of the senses we are trying to meet in our life. I want to see this, I want to eat like this, I want to enjoy like this. Like this, our life is going on. Like this, life after life we have been doing. I desire to fly like a bird. Okay, next life, Lord will give you a bird's life. We have been desiring like this, and there are 84 lakh different varieties of life because we have desired in that way. Whatever entities we see around us is all because the different desires the living entity has cultivated over a period of time. Right? So, unless we realize that we are spirit soul and cultivate our real consciousness that I belong to Krishna, I am part and parcel of Krishna, I have to serve Krishna, this is called cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So this can happen when it is guided under the direction of a pure devotee of Krishna, because he knows how to culture your consciousness, develop your consciousness to the right level, right aspect. Otherwise, we'll be going on in this material world again and again in our own way, and then misdirected and entangled here. The spiritual master or the pure devotee is that person who is a representative of Krishna. Why we need a guide, spiritual master? Because he's representative of Krishna. He's representing Krishna in his proper way and then trying to give us the same instruction which Krishna wants us to give. And he becomes a transparent via medium. We get the example of spectacles. Right now, my eyes are defective. So if I wear a spectacle, then I can see things clearly. So right now in the material world, we are seeing ourselves as bodies. So we need to see clearly that I am not the body, I am spirit soul. For this, we require the guidance of a spiritual master. He who acts as a transparent via medium to make us realize what we are, why are we here. So in this context, Prabhupada explains Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's unique contribution. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this wonderful understanding that we are Chaitanya, we are spirit soul. And as spirit souls, we have our activities. In the material world, we are performing many activities, and all that is going in the pages of history, maybe, right? Oh, maybe 10 years back I did this, 20 years back I did this, right? But once your body is no more there, that history also is forgotten. But Prabhupada says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us this wonderful understanding. As Chaitanya, as spirit soul, we are eternal. Our activities are also eternal. Amruta. They are not mruta. Mruta means dead and gone. Amruta. Our activities are eternal. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and demonstrated those eternal activities of the spirit soul. That is called devotional service. Chaitanya Charitamruta. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's demonstration of these wonderful activities of the spirit soul in its original aspect in the spiritual world is what our scriptures, Gita, Bhagavatam is explaining. Spirit soul is supposed to act like this, but right now it is contaminated with the material body and it is acting, in a very different way, in a very conditioned way. And Prabhupada explained in this context how in the material world, all relations are perverted reflections. Very important for us to understand. We are thinking, yes, this material world is factual truth. Yes, it is factual temporarily. But there is a actual reality. It is a reflection because right now the material world is there. Why? Because spiritual world is existing. Spiritual world's reflection is this material world, and material world is a perverted reflection. I give the example of a tree on the bank of a lake. A tree is reflected upside down in the lake because the tree's actual situation, real situation is standing with the roots down and branches up. In the reflection, it is upside down. So the material world is a perverted reflection. What is there in spiritual world is all there here, but it is only reflection. And we are taking this reflection as reality. It is all perverted, means it is all distorted. It is all with a lot of inebrities, a lot of mistakes, problems, right? Because here we want to continue with our family forever, but any one of the family members is dead and gone over, relationship is over. So likewise, everything here in the material world, we aspire for eternal happy situation, but material world, we are not able to experience that. That is the point. So this is called perverted reflection. In the material world, all relations are perverted reflections. So with regard to Krishna, when he descends, he is actually liberating all the demons. Means he comes and he kills them and he liberates them. Whereas the demons always want to kill Krishna. Even then, the demons have come with the intention of killing Krishna. Krishna's unlimited compassion is that he'll liberate them. Krishna only sees the positive side of the demons. Even little intention of coming and trying to be with Krishna is enough for the demon. He will get liberation. That's the point. So we have understood this much, and let's proceed further. Prabhupada explains that, especially the people with demoniac mentality, they are trying to avoid Krishna, kill Krishna, or say Krishna is dead. I am God. So this is the declarations they have. There are two classes of men, Prabhupada says, may merge into the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Those who are intentionally aspiring to merge into the impersonal Brahma Jyoti may enter. And those who are enemies of Krishna and are killed by him also do so. So here, Prabhupada is saying to tell us, when the demons are killed, the demons are annihilated, they merge in what is known as impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Brahma Jyoti is the effulgence of Krishna's body. Just like the sun planet is giving effulgence of light. Likewise, Krishna's body is effulgent with Brahma Jyoti. So when the demons were all having the inimical attitude, they come, when Krishna kills them, they get liberation by merging in the impersonal Brahman. That is called Sayujya Mukti. Means they don't have that is one type of a liberation, wherein you denying Krishna's existence or you want to defy Krishna's authority, then you are given this liberation. Krishna kills such entities. And there are specifically spiritualists known as impersonalists or Mayavadis who are meditating on impersonal Brahman. Right? They think ultimately God is Nirakara Nirvishesha. He is formless and he is without any varieties. This is one type of transcendentalists who are trying to, they are called impersonalists. Okay. So for them also, Prabhupada says, they get this destination of merging with impersonal Brahman. Therefore, the devotee concludes, why should I accept a condition that is offered even to God's enemies? Right? The devotee's thinking is, even God's enemies, Krishna gives this type of a liberation. What liberation? Merging in impersonal Brahman. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore recommends pure devotional service. We are discussing on the point of how just settling down in the material world is one level. Okay, enjoying the material world, which again is going to force you to take repeatedly different bodies. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. And once you are frustrated with this material world, there are some spiritualists who think, okay, finally, this type of life with varieties and interaction is what is causing problem. So spirituality for them means It is without any variety. It is Nirakara, Nirguna. But the Bhagavad Gita explains the spiritual world has a form, not like the material form. It is spiritual form. Spiritual world has spiritual qualities, not material qualities. So it's called Nirguna. Nirguna means not material qualities. Similarly, spiritual world, Krishna's devotees have spiritual forms. This information they are lacking. Gyanis. One is karmis, next is gyanis. Right? Gyanis means impersonalists. And bhaktas. Bhaktas know that the material world is only a reflection, perverted reflection, and spiritual world is actual existence. And Krishna is inviting us to go back to spiritual world. Okay. So now, next Prabhupada says, there should be no desire to fulfill one's own material desires. There should be no attempt to understand Krishna by experimental philosophy. And there should be no fruitive activities to derive material benefits from Krishna. So this is the definition which we have been discussing in our previous sessions also. Definition of pure devotion. Anyavilashita shunyam. Right? There should be no material desires. Because any material desire means it will entangle us in the material world, continue our existence in the material world by taking different bodies again and again and again. That's what's going on. Called Nitya Baddha Jivana, ever conditioned. Or, just now we discussed, fed up with this material world. What is this, life? So many miseries. I want to liberate myself. But you don't have proper understanding of what is liberation. You think, I have to become formless. I have to become varietyless. That is called experimental philosophy. Right? Or the path of jnana. Right? So, the definition of bhakti as per the acharyas is Anyavilashita shunyam gyan karma janavrutam anukulyena krishnanushilanam. You give up all these varieties of material desires, only have one desire to serve Krishna. Give up all the endeavors for getting some material benefits here, and all the different endeavors to understand about the truth of life by your own speculation. Give up all these things and only work or act favorably. This we have discussed in the previous session also. Act favorably to please Krishna. The only desire should be to serve him favorably as he desires. As Krishna desires, you do desire. Means what Krishna wants. If Krishna wants something, then we should do it. Krishna is giving all his instructions in the Bhagavad Gita, what he wants. He's telling you, take my name, man mana bhava mad bhakto. You chant my name, become my devotee. Krishna is Krishna's desire. If you want to go back to Krishna, that is what our ultimate destination is. You have to act the way Krishna wants. Very important. It is called favorable service to Krishna. We are discussing about pure devotion. Prabhupada gives a nice understanding here. Example. Suppose I were to ask a disciple, my dear student, please give me a glass of water. It is then his duty to give me a glass of water. Prabhupada asks a disciple, give me water, glass of water. Then simply the disciple has to follow that. If the disciple thinks Prabhupada wants a glass of water, but why not give him something better? Why not a glass of hot milk? That is not service. In his consideration, hot milk is very palatable and is better than water. Yet because I have asked for water, he has to give me water, not milk. That is favorable service. Right? It's a very important point here. What does Krishna want from us? That's what we are supposed to be doing. When Krishna says, offer me pattam pashpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadham ashnami prayatatmana. Krishna says, if you offer me fruit, flower, water, foods from vegetable kingdom, then I accept them. And that offering should be with love. Right? So Krishna is asking what I want to eat. And if you just think, okay, maybe Krishna will like some non-vegetarian food. Krishna is not asking these things. That's the point. What does Krishna want? You'll understand by reading Bhagavad Gita, understanding Bhagavad Gita. Right? So you cannot do devotion with our manufactured ideas, concocted ideas. That's the point. So likewise, Prabhupada says, when Krishna wants something, let us do that, not simply imagine something or concoct something. One has to understand what Krishna wants. When there is that intimate relationship, then one can serve Krishna most favorably. Very important point. Right? So, whatever Krishna wants, let me do. Krishna is telling, remember him, think of him, become his devotee, offer food to him. So all these things Krishna is telling. How to train our mind to always think of him, Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita. So when you start acting in that way, that is called Anukulyena Krishnanushilam, which means favorably acting to serve Krishna. As long as there is not that intimate relationship, one must take information of what Krishna wants to the transparent medium of spiritual master. This we have discussed, right? So the spiritual master gives us the understanding. Okay, I don't know who is Krishna right now, but Krishna's pure devotee knows what it is. Let me take instruction from him. That's the point. So these sessions are a little philosophical because this subject matter is like that. But if you carefully go through, then you'll really relish this whole subject. A Vaishnava never thinks that he has direct relationship with Krishna. There's one more point. A Vaishnava, a devotee, a pure devotee never thinks that I have direct relationship with Krishna. I know everything what Krishna wants. No. A devotee never thinks like that because he always sees in the proper sense that I am a devotee's devotee. Lord Chaitanya says, I am the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, 100 times servant of the servant of Krishna. In one more scripture, Lord Krishna himself says, Arjuna, one who says that I am somebody as my devotee, Krishna's devotee, is not my devotee, Krishna says. When a devotee says, I am devotee of my devotee, then he is my devotee, Krishna says to Arjuna. Which means, devotional service is not in the mood of, I know Krishna directly, I can do everything directly. No, pure devotion is not the mood. In the material world, we are very proud that, I know this minister, I know this big man, I know this such and such family, very royal family. I have this connection with this big officer. You take pride in that, right? So because you think, now that my work will be over like anything. Everybody in the material world is looking for, trying to connect to the top man, best man in the organization or in the company or government, right? And now when some big celebrity comes, everybody wants to take a selfie. Why? Because he wants to advertise that I know this person. In spiritual life, it is exactly opposite. A devotee never says that I know Krishna. Rather, he says, I know a devotee who knows Krishna better. So I go through this devotee. It is following the footsteps of a devotee to reach Krishna. That's what Krishna wants. That is where you learn what is known as humility, surrender. Whereas in the material world, everybody wants to be master, Lord. Right? Whereas in spiritual world, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, you have to understand that you are 100 times servant. I am servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, 100 times servant of the servant. Then you are a nice devotee. Right? That actually feeling this is important. We have to agree to become the servant of the servant of the servant. When a person says, I know Krishna directly, I can, that is wrong. That is not the philosophy of pure devotion. This is the process of disciplic succession. If one wants real transcendental love of God, then he has to adopt this process. Very clearly, Prabhupada is telling. You want real transcendental love of God, you have to adopt this process. It's like somebody says, I want to purchase diamond. Okay, go to Kirana shop. You pay some 50 rupees, you'll get 1 kilo diamond. That is, foolish, right? So this is not real diamond. Real diamond's value is something different. Even one small few milligrams is costing, so much money. So people don't know the value of what is devotion to Krishna, what is pure devotion to Krishna. They just have their own concoctions and their own ways of seeing things from their perspective. That's the problem. So this is the process of discipline succession, Prabhupada says. If one wants real transcendental love of God, then he has to adopt this process. What process? Being the servant of the servant of the servant, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, 100 times servant. That's the devotee, which means your consciousness has become so surrendered. Material world means I am the master. Everybody should hear me. Spiritual world means it is the lowest. I am the lowest. So because people do not accept this process, they do not develop a real love of God. So you're talking about pure devotion. Pure devotion is not a matter of simply somebody hyping his consciousness or imagining or manufacturing some ideas. Sometimes we hear people talking, I speak to God. These are all things not to be openly spoken like this. It's not a matter of getting some cheap adoration from people. Right? We come across people like this who say, I have seen God. God is in direct relation with me. Because they don't know what is real devotion, the real love of God. The love of God basically means I have intimate relation with Krishna, intimate relation with God. And that relationship has to be awakened. Right now it is forgotten. Right? It is totally forgotten. We have to revive that relationship. Right? We are intimately connected. Just like in the family, you have relation with your wife, husband, children. You're all closely, intimately connected. I love my wife. I love my children. Why? Because you are connected. Likewise, all of us are intimately connected with Krishna. That connection, that relationship has to be awakened, revived, is what Bhagavad Gita is telling us. Because we have forgotten that relationship. And we are trying to have these relationships in this material world with different types of people around us. Right? We have identifying somebody as my wife, and some children are born. And that's how the material world is reflection, means it is giving you a sense of as though this is reality. And we go on like this, life after life. So people bring in the same ideologies, conceptions of the material life to God. That is the problem. Right? They take something what is not real as real. Right? People, because they don't accept the process of the parampara or the disciplic succession. Disciplic succession means there is a chain of gurus who are coming from Krishna, who are giving us this actual understanding. We have to follow in that process of understanding this knowledge. Not that we speculate, we concoct. They speak of God, but actually they do not love God because there is no cultivation of pure devotional service. They love dog. This is what is happening in the present day situation. People say, professing as though, I'm a religionist, I'm a spiritualist. But actually, if you get into details of their philosophy or their personal life, they don't have the actual real love of God, what is described in the scriptures, standard scriptures. They are loving something else. You may say love of God, but unless we adopt this principle, then we will have to love dog, not God. That is a mistake. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that if one really wants love of God, then one has to follow the process of pure devotional service. There's a proper methodology, it's a proper way, procedure which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us. That we have to adopt. It is not that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking out of his own mental concoction. His statements are confirmed in the Vedic scriptures such as the Narada Pancharatra and Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the way Lord doesn't speak something again, out of the on his own way. In fact, Lord can speak because he is the person who is giving us all the laws. But when he comes also as an incarnation, he refers the standard Vedic scriptures and gives us the understanding, because already the scriptures are available. He just quotes from those scriptures relevant aspects for our understanding. There are scriptures known as Narada Pancharatra, Srimad Bhagavata. So these scriptures, apart from that, Bhagavad Gita is also a very authentic scripture. You have to understand them, know them. These are all meant for us to become devotees. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is quoting a verse from a scripture called Narad Pancharatra, where it is said, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. This is the definition of pure devotional service. We'll understand this a little more. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. Rishikena means, Rishika means by one's senses. We have to engage our senses. It is not that we engage only our minds. Right? So, in bhakti, devotional service, we engage our practical senses in the service of Krishna. Right? So it's not that mentally I'm doing something. Bhakti sab man mein hai. No, that is not the way actual bhakti means. We have to engage our senses practically in the service of the master of the senses, that is Rishikesha, Krishna. That is very important. If someone says, I'm always thinking of Krishna, that is not pure devotional service. We come across people talking like this. Always I'm thinking of Krishna, always. It is only bogus. No, it is not fact. Why Prabhupada explains, meditation is thinking, but no one thinks of Krishna. They think of void or something impersonal, because we are conditioned in so many ways. Mind is constantly thinking of objects of sense gratification. Or you are fed up with sense gratification, you think of something void or impersonal. If someone is thinking of Krishna or Narayana or Vishnu as prescribed in the Vedic scriptures, that is real yoga. Yoga meditation means to focus one's mind upon the super soul. Very important. So, if everything around you is giving you the remembrance of Krishna in your activities, in your various interactions with people, that is real yoga. Because even the yoga process, yoga meditation, is making a practitioner to come to the point of meditation on the super soul, right? Paramatma within the heart. The super soul is a representation of Krishna in the form of four-handed Narayan. Even Patanjali, an authority of the yoga system, prescribes meditation on Vishnu. But just as people are manufacturing bogus religious processes, the so-called yogis of today have manufactured their own way of thinking of something void. In the modern day, there are so many so-called religious institutions, bogus gurus, who all say, you can think of anything. You can think of air, you can think of that, as though, it becomes a common thing for us. You can do anything and everything and you realize God. Prabhupada used to say, in the Western countries, people are so, so easy to get cheated that some yogi in the form of a dress of a yogi comes, sannyasi in the form of a dress of a sannyasi, and then he starts cheating people. You give me some money and I will make you God, or you'll realize God within no time. For God realization, or you yourself realizing that I am part and parcel of God and trying to follow and come to the level of pure devotion, it's called love of God, is not that It's not a bogus thing. It's not a manufactured thing. That's the point. So the authentic processes prescribe some rules, regulations, step by step. Even the Patanjali Yoga system is recommending that you have to meditate on Paramatma, the Vishnu form, the 400 form within the heart. So yoga, modern day yoga, means you just have to perform yoga to reduce your weight, belly fat, or you have to do yoga to maintain your health. Yoga has become, yoga, this word is used in the form of, to improve your health, or, reduce your fat, or like that. So this is not the purpose of yoga. These are all byproducts. The real purpose of yoga is to connect ourselves with the Supreme. Right? The process, the standard process, authentic process to connect yourself with Supreme. The connection is there, that is to be revived through a specific step-by-step process. So the modern day so-called yoga systems, or the different religious organizations, are only simply trying to misdirect people, misguide people. So now Prabhupada is going to speak about how this purification of senses is so important. Narad Pancharatra, what does he say? What does it say? Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. One must engage not only one's mind, but one's senses in service of Krishna. Engage the senses in service of the master of the senses. These three Sanskrit words are very significant. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. Rishikena means the senses. Rishikesha means master of the senses. And Sevanam means service, practical service. Rishikesha means the Lord of the senses. So Bhakti Yoga means to serve with the senses, the Lord of the senses. Very important revelation. Our body means senses, right? And where from the senses have come? The scriptures inform us, tell us that they are originating from Krishna only. He has made this facility of this body and the senses for us. So when you engage these senses for the service of the senses, the master of the senses, just like a laborer is working in the direction of a master for some specific work, say gardening work. The way the master wants, the laborer has to work. Not that he will manufacture his own way and trying to concoct his own way and then do something. No. He has to work in the direction of the master. Otherwise, the laborer will not have any standing there. He'll be immediately kicked out. Right? So, in the material world, we are all trying to do so many things other than service to Krishna. But even then, Krishna is very merciful. He is trying to sit in our heart as Paramatma and trying to guide us again and again and again and again. So Rishikesha, what is pure devotion? When you engage your senses or serve your senses, serve Lord Krishna with your senses. And Krishna is Rishikesha, who is master of the senses. The Lord of the senses is Krishna. We should always remember that we have our senses because we wanted to enjoy this material world. And therefore, the Lord has given us a particular set of senses for our enjoyment. A very important revelation. What are these senses? Where are these senses coming from? What is the purpose of these senses? There must be some use for them. Who has given them? Right? His Lord has given them. He is the master. It has to be used for his service. The hog has a particular type of body and senses because he wanted to enjoy eating stool. All of us have been given different types of bodies. Why? Because we wanted to enjoy that way. Everybody is unique. Everybody's body is unique, you say. I have these likes, I have these dislikes. I want this, I don't want this. Why? Because even the food, there's so many preferences people have. Some people are allergic to something, some people are okay with some things. Why specific bodies are there? Why? Because we wanted to enjoy the world this way. And Krishna has designed us in a body for us like this through the agency of material nature. Prabhupada next he says, similarly, a man has a particular type of body and senses because he wanted to enjoy something else. Why each of us are appearing unique? Because our bodies are unique. Right? Each of us have our own preferences. Why? Because we wanted to enjoy this life in a particular way. Krishna has provided that facility for us. We have a particular set of conditioned senses with which to enjoy this material world. This is what we have to purify. Right now, we have been given a specific conditioned body. In the human form of life, these senses are being used in a specific manner for our own personal gratification of the senses and mind. These senses, when you use for Krishna's service, that is called purification. Our senses are all original, but now they are covered by material desires. We have to cure ourselves and become free from such desires. This is the meaning of diseased condition. Our senses, they are engaged in so many ways, right? The tongue is, engaged in, in eating meat or drinking wine, but that is a diseased condition. It's like when there's jaundice and the doctor is telling you should not, eat anything solid food, right? Then if you continue to eat solid food, the disease only will aggravate further. It will not, cure. It will not make you cured. Likewise, in the material world, we have come. Why? Because we have forgotten Krishna, and we have been given a specific type of a body. But inside, spirit soul is having spiritual body. That body is covered right now. We are given one more, type of a body, and this body, we are acting in a way, in a specific manner, engaging our senses for our own satisfaction, for our own gratification, and that is entangling us to get one more body. Like this, life after life, we are getting different bodies. What happens in the human form of life is that we have so many desires to satisfy ourselves with regard to I want to enjoy like this, I want to become big man, I want to become famous. There's so many aspirations, plans. In this human form of life, or this human form of life is meant for a specific purpose that we have forgotten. And we do so many things, because of which what happens? You degrade yourself to a lower life form. And once you degrade, there's a process of evolution. You have to go slowly, step by step. This we have discussed in our previous sessions. How evolution process happens. A living entity begins his life as an aquatic. Aquatics has 9 lakh species. Then from aquatics gradually evolve, and then you become a tree or a plant, 20 lakh species. Then you become a reptile, 11 lakh species. Then you become a bird. It means as gradually evolution from aquatics to plants and reptiles, then birds, then 4-legged animals, the 30 lakh species. Then you get a human form. There are 4 lakh species of humans. Like this evolution goes on, which means you have gone through so many lakhs and lakhs of lives. And when human form of life, again, you don't act responsibly. You act in a way that any other entity is acting to just satisfy your senses. That will again degrade you. The human form of life is given for us to elevate ourselves to a higher consciousness, to come out of the cycle of birth and death. That's the point. So our senses are there, original, but right now they're covered by material desires. We have to cure ourselves. Material desires means desires which are other than service to Krishna. Our own desires to enjoy our senses in a specific way is called material desires. So we have to cure ourselves. This is a disease we have, and become free from such desires. So Prabhupada gives a wonderful concept here with regard to how originally we are all living entities having senses. From this verse of the Narada Pancharatra, we can understand that the spirit soul has original senses. Spirit soul has originally its senses. Because just like, very, very nice example Prabhupada gives, no more context. We go to a tailor, we stitch a shirt or a coat. The shirt and coat has hands and this body shape of a form. Why? Because our body has a hands, legs, everything. Likewise, this body has hands, legs, head, everything. Why? Because the spirit soul, this body is a dress only. The spirit soul inside the body is having a form. So it has form, it has senses. That's why this body is having this shape. So we understand that spirit soul has original senses. However small a body it may have entered, the spirit soul is not impersonal, it has senses. Right? It's a very important concept. Very nice example Prabhupada gives. Perhaps one may find a bug on one's book. It is so small, smaller than a pinpoint, but still it moves. It has all the senses. Sometimes we see small bug moving around on the table or in a book or in a body or sometimes. So even that small insect is having spirit soul, so it is moving. It has the senses. Small bacteria also move and they have their senses. Originally, all living entities have senses. A very profound, principle which Prabhupada is giving us. It is not that the senses have developed under certain material conditions. This is a modern concept. The modern scientific way of evolution means, chemicals are all there together, they combine, and matter all combined together, and this life has evolved. They say life comes from matter. Prabhupada says, no. Actually, matter has no power of any origin, of any life powers, right? And actually, life produces life. Life also produces matter. This we have discussed in one more discussion in our previous sessions. The atheistic theory is that under the material conditions, we have developed senses, and that in the spiritual condition, there are no senses, that we are impersonal. So again, the impersonal theory, that finally we are all impersonal, no form. That is wrong. By logic and reason, however, that cannot be. Right? It's like if you say, I am born from nobody, that is wrong. Right? My father is having a form, and his father is having a form. So I am come from sky with impersonal thing. No, I have, my origin is from a form, person. A minute particle of spiritual force, even if it is smaller in size than an atom, has its senses. Smallest bacteria or insect, so small. Even then, that soul is so small, minute. Scriptures say. The senses being covered by the material elements manifest themselves in a perverted way. This is the point. When this spirit soul is covered with this material elements, this material body, then it acts in a different way. I'll give one more simple example to make us understand this point. Just like this white light. White light is giving us white, nice bright light. When that white light is covered by some colored paper, say a red color paper, that white light is covered, it's colored actually, right now. Now it becomes red light. So the spirit soul originally is pure, having the understanding that I am servant of Krishna, I am devotee of Krishna. But when this matter covers the body, when you get this material body, what happens? That understanding that I am servant of Krishna becomes covered, and you start thinking, I am servant of this company. I am servant of my family. Or people say, I am servant of this nation. This is called covered or perverted thinking. Very interesting understanding, right? In a perverted way, the things happen. We have to purify the senses, and when the senses are purified, we can engage them for the pleasure of the master of the senses. So, in this human form of life, we are supposed to practice this. That I am servant of Krishna, I have to act for Krishna. That is called Rishi Kena Rishi Kesha Sevanam. Krishna is the master and proprietor of the senses. So we have to engage our activities in serving Krishna all the time. One thing you have to understand is that, therefore, because we are part and parcel of Supreme Lord, our senses are borrowed from Him. They are on rental. It's not ours. Krishna is the proprietor. He is the master. Should be used for His pleasure. Right? When you use it for our pleasure, it is misuse. The best thing is to use the senses for his sense gratification and not for our own. This is the process of Krishna consciousness. So more clearly Prabhupada is defining what is Krishna consciousness. When you engage all our senses in service of Krishna for his satisfaction, right now we are engaging our senses for me and mine, Dehatma Buddhi, bodily conception. I have to be happy, my family has to be happy, my society has to be happy. Everybody is working for that throughout life. And one fine day, finished. Life is over. Again, one more life begins, one more chapter begins. So when you engage our life in serving Krishna for his satisfaction, that is called pure devotion. That is what is supposed to be done. Otherwise, we're entangling ourselves. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Chaitanya gives the example of pure devotion. It is said in the Bhagavatam that Krishna is situated in everyone's heart. Right? Lord is here, seated as Paramatma in everyone's heart. Therefore, just as rivers flow and their natural tendency is to reach the sea, as soon as one hears the glories of the Lord, his soul is at once attracted toward the Supreme Lord. That is the beginning of pure devotional service. Very wonderful understanding. All of us are actually right now entangled in the material body. But even now, Lord is sitting as Paramatma, very important. This Krishna reveals in the Bhagavad Gita. Is even now accompanying us as Paramatma, super soul. So right now we are engaged in so many activities, material desires are driving us. Krishna is also sanctioning whatever you deserve. But when you turn your attention to Krishna and want to do service to Krishna begins with hearing about him, trying to understand about him. Then Prabhupada is telling, the example given in Bhagavatam is, the natural course of a river is what? It wants to flow and finally merge with ocean. Enter the ocean. Likewise, the soul in the material world is taken this material body and is wandering here and there. It is not the natural course. When it goes towards Krishna in all his activities, that is the natural course which will bring the soul real satisfaction. Right? Very wonderful thing. Because Lord is seated as Paramatma in the heart. He knows what you want. If you are really sincerely desiring, I want Krishna's devotion, Krishna will facilitate. If you don't want Krishna, then Krishna also, okay, you don't want me, then fine. As based on your karma, what is happening will happen. So sincerely desire Krishna from within the heart, that is pure beginning of pure devotion. So as soon as there is the vibration, chanting vibration, Hare Krishna, immediately Krishna's paraphernalia, Krishna's name, Krishna's fame, Krishna's abode, Krishna's associates, everything all of a sudden become manifested because he is present. This is the beginning of one's Krishna's consciousness, which means your mind is absorbed in Krishna's various aspects. So Krishna, he did this Leela, Krishna told this, Krishna's various paraphernalia is this. So basically, mind absorbed in Krishna, just like ordinarily we absorb our mind with people around us. We talk about one family member, immediately the memory comes. Okay, that particular person, I had this interaction with him. He told me this and he helped me this way. So many things come up in the background mind. So actually, Krishna is our real friend, real well-wisher, and real maintainer and everything. This we have forgotten. So this has to come in our memory. That will come when you start chanting Hare Krishna. Right? To remember by reference to a context means that as soon as one hears a code word, one at once remembers all the information behind the code. Very nice example. Just like in our normal way of working also, one code word will give you the lot of meaning. Means that will give you volumes of meaning, right? So likewise, in any field domain, we have this understanding. So Krishna, when Krishna word is uttered, because Krishna is our well-wisher, supreme well-wisher. He is supreme God. We are connected intimately. This hearing Krishna is so much enlivening and enchanting for a devotee that he doesn't want anything else. That is pure devotion. Very nice example Prabhupada gives here with regard to the gopis of Vrindavan. Right? Similarly, when our minds are attracted to Krishna and everything about Krishna simply by hearing a little glorification of his qualities, that is the beginning of pure Krishna consciousness. Then there is no more gati or movement of the mind. Our mind is going so many ways, here and there, here and there. So example of gopis is given. It was just that way that the gopis, as soon as they heard the sound of Krishna's flute, they gave up everything. The pure devotees of Krishna and Vrindavan, gopis, just hearing Krishna's flute, their mind was so pulled, attracted to Krishna. Oh, Krishna is, playing his flute. And some of them were lying down, some were working in their family affairs, some were taking care of their children. But as soon as they heard Krishna's flute, they forgot everything and rushed to him. This is all described in the Bhagavata. How gopis, because as spirit souls, they know Krishna is our lovable object. Everything else is only incidental, circumstantial. They left everything and rushed to meet him. Their husbands, their brothers, and their father said, "Why are you going and leaving your duty?" But they didn't care. They did not care. They simply left. There is no impediment and no stumbling block in that merge of the mind with Krishna. That is the beginning of pure devotion. Few more points to be discussed. We will discuss in the next session, which is going to conclude this whole understanding. So, just to summarize what we have discussed today, as spirit souls, we all actually belong to Krishna. We have intimate relationship with Krishna. Right now, in the material world, we have forgotten Krishna. That's why we are put in the material world, and we are given a material body. This material body is like an imprisonment for us, prison life. Because the mistake of forgetting Krishna we have done. But even here, Krishna is sitting with our heart as Paramatma, Super Soul, and he is waiting when we will turn our face towards him. But here in the material world, we are busy with different activities in this body, with these senses, and generating new plans and new desires we are developing, and because of which we are going on in the transmigration of this, different species of life. We are going on taking different bodies again and again and again and again. Life is going on like this, eternally conditioned, nitya baddha. Human form of life is obtained to realize that this type of a conditioned life, of eternally conditioned way of life, is not a real life for the soul. Because soul's real hankering is eternal existence, eternal happiness, permanent happiness. That is possible only when you connect ourselves with Krishna. So that connection can happen, it can be revived when we actually perform devotional service. Devotional service means engaging our senses in service of Krishna under the direction of a pure devotee, spiritual master. Then we'll revive our actual consciousness as spirit souls, as pure devotees of Krishna, and then move forward in our journey of spiritual life. So I'll conclude here. I've taken a few more extra minutes today to basically make a point. So I'll conclude here. Anybody has anything to ask, discuss, we can take up questions and comments. Hare Krishna. आवाज नहीं आ रही, वॉइस. Hare Krishna. Okay. Fine. So we'll close here. Happy Janmashtami for everybody. And we're celebrating Janmashtami today and tomorrow. Then all of you are welcome. Today celebration is in Delhi, in a place, in a location, in a venue called Umrao, right, in Delhi. And tomorrow it will be in Vrindavan. You're most welcome. And in case you're not able to make it personally, you can always attend online and take the blessings of Lord Krishna. I'll close here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.